So, welcome back to All Leeds TV, and tonight it is me and Martin, and we are going to be doing a review of the season so far. So we will be looking at comparing to where we were last season compared to where we are this season, and if we've done better or if we've done worse. So, yeah, should we just get into it? And
yeah, sounds good. How are you, Rhiannon? You've had a good international break?
Yeah, it's been good spending some time with family and things like that. So it's actually been quite nice. Didn't watch any of the England games.
No, neither did I.
No. What about you?
No Kalvin, no party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been okay. Been keeping myself busy with work and family, and just waiting for Leeds to come back. It's just no point to the weeks if we haven't got the weekend to look forward to and Leeds playing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this tonight.
Yeah, I know. I think it's going to be really interesting, especially with all the stats you've got.
Yeah, I've put together quite a lot of stuff. Probably a bit too much for some people, but we'll see who enjoys it and who doesn't. Let us know in the comments what you think to what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Because if it's a great hit, we'll continue to do these kind of shows. So yeah, hopefully it turns out well.
Fingers crossed.
All right.
So yeah, so we'll start off. I want to look over the way last season played out at the beginning of the season compared to this season. We've played 7 games so far. How would you say the season has gone so far, in your opinion?
Less than average. I wouldn't say we've done massively well. I just think some of the performances have been there for maybe like the first half of the game, and you think, great, we're actually going to kick off now. But then we just sort of go downhill in the second half, and it's like we just let them come at us, the opposition, and then we concede to, just like we conceded to West Ham in the 90th minute. It's just a bit frustrating, really.
Yeah, it's a kick in the teeth when we're playing so well, like that West Ham game, like you mentioned. So, and we've got I'm not saying no reward, but we didn't get any points. We'd had an improved performance compared to other games, but it was still 0 points that we came away with, and we deserved so much more from that match. But at least we have most recently we've gone into the international break with a win. Thank you, Watford.
Yes.
I would say that result was probably just as much Watford being pretty bad as us being good. We could have finished that game being 3 or 4 goals up easily, but it just ended with just a 1 goal.
Yeah, this is it. Like, this is where I felt that, with the Watford game, it didn't feel like we'd won. Like, it hadn't sunk in, simply because I felt like we could have won by a lot more goals. Yeah, like, in the first half, we could have easily been 3-0 up and would have won perfectly comfortably. But typical Leeds, in a typical Leeds fashion,
made it difficult for ourselves, didn't we?
Exactly. We make it difficult for ourselves, and we just get by with the skin of our teeth and make the last 5-10 minutes the most nerve-wracking 10 minutes of any Leeds fan's life. Like, so,
exactly. Yeah, I couldn't sum it up better myself. The game should have been a lot easier, and we wouldn't have had to worry if we would just put away some of our chances sooner. If there's a bit better decision making in the final third, we could have ended that game being very comfortable. But a win's a win at the end. That's all that matters, and we did come away with that. A bit better decision making in the final third. So yeah. That game.
Oop.
Sorry, I must have unmuted the actual video that I've got playing in the background there. So I heard me again in double. If we look over last season after 7 games, we had gained 10 points and scored 13 goals and conceded 13 goals. So that was fine. We were pretty happy with the start to the season, wasn't we, last year?
Yeah, I mean, I thought last season we kicked off really well despite us losing against Liverpool. Like, you saw that we were completely up for it. We thought with the way that we played, we thought this is great. We're bringing something new to the Premier League. They haven't seen this kind of style of football before. You know, high press, high tempo, constant like pressure on the opposition. And even when we concede, we're going at them again and again and again and being completely unrelentless. Like it just keeps going and going. This season, not seeing much of it.
Yeah,
I just think, like, especially like for example, the West Ham game, and maybe even Everton at home. Like when we obviously we conceded that penalty first against Everton, and I've spoken to quite a few Leeds fans, and we all said, I can't see us getting back into this game.
Yeah.
And then Click scored. And then we thought, great. But there wasn't like fire in their bellies. They weren't like, right, great, we've got it to 1-1. Let's hit them and get a second. There wasn't any of that. There was no urgency. There was no like, let's go get them. And then we conceded. And then again, I thought, right, we've lost this now. Like, I can't see us getting back into this game again. And then we equalised. But again, it just didn't feel like, I don't know, it just didn't feel like we were playing as a unit. I still feel that we don't play as a unit, not like we did compared to last season.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's because of certain individual performances, individual players kind of being off the boil, but I don't know. We'll see. But it's nice this season seeing a couple of new faces that have been around and about the first team but haven't had a look in, and they're doing well.
Yeah, there have been some positive takes so far from this season. It could have gone better. I don't think the players aren't quite clicking on the pitch at the moment. I think they're like one step away from being as good as we all know they can be. Maybe some of the players are performing a bit lower than what their levels were last year, and I think we should see them improving as the season goes on. I've got something there that I want to show. So it's a picture which directly compares after 7 games, and the first open 7 games from last season to this season. I'm just going to share my screen here for a second. So, 1 second, and I'm not sure if people can see that. Yeah.
No. Usually.
Here we go. That's the wrong one.
That's it.
That's the wrong picture, but
is it the wrong picture?
Technical problems here. My apologies, guys. I'll find the correct one that I want. And where are you gone? I've got you open. There you are. Okay, can we see that one now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at in 2021, we had 10 points after the first seven games, and this season we've got 6. So we've got 4 less points. And that's like a 40% drop. So that's a pretty big change after from last season. And goals wise, again, we're a good 46% down from last season. We've only scored 7 goals this season as opposed to 13 last season.
Wow.
With goals conceded, we're pretty much around about the same. Only 1 more goal conceded this year, so that's not too bad. But the XG and the expected goals and expected goals against, that's what these bottom 2 are. Expected goals and expected goals against. That's people may know a lot about expected goals, and they may not, but that's generally a good indicator as to how many goals you should score or how many goals you should concede.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much similar to what we were last season. At least that's just directly comparing the first 7 games.
Yeah.
But if we look at it a different way, we can see a different story if we compare the exact same opponents. Because obviously last season we played different opponents at the start of the season than we did this season. So if we directly compare the actual games themselves.
Ooh, he's took himself off. And it's Rhiannon's solo channel. Hi guys. Oh gosh, isn't it funny?
My apologies for that. I must have accidentally clicked to exit the thing. There's teething problems. My apologies, all who are watching. Where was I? I was about to show you the direct game. But yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about the direct
talking
games
about
comparison.
a direct comparison with the
Yeah.
the same opponents.
There we go. I've got it up now. So you can see if we compare the actual opponents that we've played, there's not as big of a difference. Now with this, I've filtered out the teams who we can't play this year. Like we played Fulham in the opening 7 games last year, and we don't have Fulham to play this year. But we did play one of the other 3 promoted sides in Watford. So I took out those results, even though they are exactly the same. Both were wins, both were wins by 1 goal as well. Albeit with Fulham, we did concede 3 goals and scored 4. So that was an exciting game. But the rest of the things is all pretty close. If you look at it, we've got only a 8% increase in goals conceded. The expected goals is very similar. But the expected goals against, we've actually conceded a lot less expected goals than we did do last season.
Oh.
But we've actually conceded a similar amount. The reason for that is actually our rivals up in Manchester. They were very, very clinical on the day when we faced them. They actually scored 5 goals from only 1.5 xG, which is a pretty big difference, which has allowed this 3.8 number here, or the expected goals against. That's why we've got 42% less, but we still concede the same amount because they were very, very clinical. So it doesn't look as bad when you see the direct game comparison. Only 1 point less, which is that the key figure here is points, which is what we need on the table is points. So it may seem like a bad start to the season or average, and in some ways it has been with the amount of goals that we've scored. But again, if you look at the goals that we scored last year against these teams, it's exactly the same. We've scored the same amount of goals last season as we did this season against these opponents. So let me know what you guys think about this. If I'm hitting the spot here with anything that I'm saying, or I'm talking complete and utter waffle, just let me know. I can take it. I'm a big boy. So that's my take on the actual results themselves. Is that it could look a lot worse than where it was if.
It's weird, isn't it? Because when you do look at stats like that, you think, why were we worrying? Like it can't. Like it. I mean, I suppose it depends how which Leeds fan looks at it, doesn't it? Which side of the fence you sit on, or which perspective you look at it. If you're a half empty or a half full kind of fan. To me, when I look at that, it makes me less worried. Yeah, but if you were just basing off the results that we've had now, I thought if we lost against Watford, that was pretty much it. Like I couldn't see where we were getting points, if that makes sense. Like I actually started to think that we might actually be at Sheffield United this season, which obviously was a worry, because even though you saw flashes of the performances that we're used to seeing, it just wasn't consistent enough.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
So but I'm glad that we got that win, the much needed win against Watford. And then obviously I'm hoping that despite the international break, we've got some momentum to build on and just keep it going.
Yeah, I would like to see that to try to build some momentum here, so we can start kind of look better than what we have done, because we are better than this. We know from last season what we are capable of, and it's not quite got there yet. But there is a lot of good things which some of our individual players have done this year, and that's maybe what I'd like to move into next now, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Just looking at some of the players who have performed well. So first of all, if we I want to look at who has been our most creative players, because we've got a number of very talented creators in our team. We may not seem like it at times, but they are. Who would most people say is our most creative players? If you put it in the comments, who would you say is our most creative player this season? Let's see some suggestions there. I'll give you all a bit of a chance to put some in there, but
yeah. No, but see, the thing is, I'd probably say Rafinha's our most creative, just because of the type of player that he is. But I just think there's still a limit to what he can do in regards to the fact that if he doesn't get the service, then he's not going to be as creative, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's but I definitely think that Rafinha creatively has probably done the most for us, and then Kalvin defensively has actually, I think both of them have literally just carried the team so far. But yeah, so I'd say Rafinha.
That's a very good assessment. More any Leeds fan or even non-Leeds fan would say that the biggest player that teams have to watch out for when they're playing us is Rafinha. And the stats do back that up. He is one of our most creative players. There's certain things which other players perform better in, but overall for the whole package, he's it. You see there, chances created. He's created the most in the squad. Rodrigo second and Matthijs Klich third. So they're the ones who have created our most chances so far. So if in case you're not sure what these chances mean, they're shot creating actions, and shot creating actions are the two actions immediately following a shot on goal. So for example, if Rafinha was to run down the wing with the ball and then pass the ball to Bamford, that would count as two shot creating actions for Rafinha because he's got the dribble and the pass. So that's the way those work, just in case anyone's not 100% versed on them like I am. But yeah, that's so Rafinha definitely has created the most chances this year, which isn't surprising.
No, not at all. I mean, because even when he gives it a good go himself, he can be unselfish and set players up perfectly for a goal. I don't know. In a weird way, I'm a bit shocked at seeing Rodrigo's name.
He has created them.
I think he's created more when Bamford's been out. I don't know. I can't. I find it hard to believe it because I'm probably wrong, but from going to the Leeds games, do you know what I mean, and seeing it firsthand, I'd find it hard to believe that he's created anything whilst he's been behind Bamford.
Well, most of his time this season has been while Bamford has been out. I think he has actually played probably more minutes up front than he has behind. But Rodrigo plays the striker role totally different to the way Bamford does. He drops deeper than Bamford does. Bamford does drop deep, but he doesn't get as much involved in the actual build-up as what Rodrigo does. Rodrigo makes more passes per game when he plays up front. He has more touches of the ball per game, and that's one of the reasons why he's up there with chances created, because he's in the upper area, but he also drops deeper to help out and to make opportunities to other people as well. So that's what he brings to the role. If we had both of them available, Bamford and Rodrigo, I would definitely prefer Bamford up front. That is purely because of what he offers to us in terms of work rate, in terms of finishing, because Rodrigo doesn't have his finishing, which is mad. Absolutely mad.
Which is frustrating, because you'd think that with Bamford being out and with Rodrigo being played in his preferred position, which we all know because he gets frustrated when he is playing behind Bamford, is why aren't you grabbing this chance? Like, I know, like say, it proves that, highest expected assists, Rodrigo, he's second in most chances created. Why aren't you scoring goals?
That's his biggest problem this year, is actually scoring goals.
And I just want to see the Rodrigo that we saw at the end of last season, who was so clinical. He was literally on fire. And it's frustrating to see, because it's the way I look at him is like the way I look at Tyler. Like last season, when Tyler Roberts kept getting chances to come, I was like, well, you're not grabbing your chances. Like, you're not grabbing the ball with the horns. Like, why? Like, why are you wasting this opportunity? Because I think with Bielsa, he likes them both, and I think he will continue to give them his chances. But to me, like, you only get so much time with Leeds fans. Like, otherwise they will start to turn on you. And I just think if he doesn't score soon, like, I think people's minds are going to get made up on this Rodrigo, especially when he's been especially when we spent 30 million on him.
Yep, he's cost us a lot of money. But the thing is, we've got to remember when it comes to goals being scored. A few years ago, we had a similar problem with Patrick Bamford, and we know how that's ended up. Bielsa has had faith in him and kept giving him the opportunities, knowing that he would eventually come good, and it happened. And Bamford hasn't looked back since then. He has been performing. Well, he got an England appearance, for God's sake. an appearance for England. Patrick Bamford. It's you can't believe it. If you told someone that 2-3 years ago, they would have said that he was on. They would have said he was on drugs. It wasn't feasible. But that's what's happened because the faith that Bielsa had in Bamford, that he knew that he could hit those heights that he has done, and he's got there. But I think Rodrigo will come good. He's got a lot of positive signs in his locker so far. With his chances created, he's earned this place in the team for me, and he does well with off the ball as well. He's improving his work rate slowly. That's always a good thing, which I'm sure Bielsa will be aware of. Yeah, I'm happy with Rodrigo so far, but he just needs to start getting a couple of goals now just to help with that end. So it's not just other people.
Yeah, I think also the defensive side of his play isn't great either, which I think frustrates me because I know how good Bamford is at it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I know they're completely different strikers, but you know, with the way that we play, I expect to see something similar. Do you know what I mean? It's but I don't know if that's me being harsh on Rodrigo, but yeah.
No, you're perfectly in your right to be. You're not being overly harsh to him. You've said that he's done well with some things. He just needs to improve other things. That's a perfectly valid thing for any Leeds fan to say. I'm never a big fan of slating players, no matter what they've done. But you can say where they can improve without being disrespectful to them. That's not my biggest way of looking at it. I've got something else to show, which will show some of the other ones we might not have thought of, who are creating chances for us here. This one, make sure I get the right one this time. That's not it. There it is. So this is a full list of. It's not really in any kind of like listed in order for each of them because it's hard with just multiple categories. But this is all the different ways that we can measure creativity in the side, and they're the players who have stood out the most in certain areas. We've got Raphinha, who's created the most chances, and he's also got the second most expected assists. And in case anyone isn't aware what expected assist means, when someone takes a shot, it's given an expected goal target, so how likely they are to score from that shot. So a penalty is something like 0.5 expected goals, or even more. Actually, I think it might be 0.8. And so if it's one expected goal, it's pretty much you're meant to score. 100 times out of 100 times that player will score. If it's 0.30 xG, that means 30 times out of 100 they're going to score. And that's what's called a big chance. But I'm waffling a bit. But yeah, so expected assists is basically if when someone passes the ball to someone who takes a shot and they receive the expected assist for that expected goals. So if they had a shot for 0.3 xG, the player who passed it to them will get 0.3 expected assists. So that's what that is, in case people weren't aware. So the person who's got the most of that is Rodrigo. So he's created the most high-value chances, but unfortunately, his teammates haven't finished off those chances. He's had 2.1 expected assists so far, which should mean that he should have two assists, but it hasn't happened. Raphinha has 1.4 and he has 1 assist. So it's held up okay with him, and it is usually a good, reliable way of telling when someone should have had an assist or not. And some of the things which people might not notice from this is the expected assists and chances per 90. That's for every 90 minutes the player has played, how many they have created in that 90 minutes. So a couple of things here. One player who is not very well liked by some people. Some people like him. Is Tyler Roberts. He's splits opinion by a lot of Leeds fans, which is fine. Everyone has their opinions on players. I won't ever tell someone not to have those opinions. My opinion is that he's a good player, but he can improve. But we need to say the good things when he's doing them. I expect here he's created 3.6 chances per 90, which is more than Stuart Dallas. It's only just less than, I'll say even slightly more than Jack Harrison. And Jack is most of our fans have a good opinion of Jack now. So he's got decent numbers for a lot of these, especially for extra.
But wouldn't this stat be slightly, I don't know if the word's biased. I mean, the fact, because Tyler has played more than Jack.
No, he's not. He's played. No, he's only played 170 minutes.
Because I know Jack was out with COVID, so I don't know, and I know, so he was out for a good 2 weeks.
So far, Harrison has played 360 minutes, and that's 4 starts. And Tyler's played 173 minutes and no starts. That's from 7 sub appearances that he's created these from. So he's done pretty well to say he's been off the bench every single time. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world. That's not what I'm trying to say here. No. I'm just saying that he's done well in the chances that he has had off the bench. But it can be hard to see those sometimes, because especially with people who already have an opinion set in stone in the heart, so they think, "Oh, Tyler Roberts doesn't do anything." I'm not saying that's you, Rhiannon. I'm not saying that's you. But some people.
No, because the thing is, it's hard. Not. No, I get it. Like, because some people have the same about Liam. Like, people still have some people have in their heads League One Liam.
Yeah.
And even when you prove to them, like last season, he was our best defender, they still brush that aside and they're like, well, he's still crap. I was like, but how can he be? Because he is our best defender in the stats. But with Tyler, I'm definitely not. I'd like to think I'm definitely not one of them that heart set in stone that I'm against him, because I'm not, because I can see the potential in him. I just get frustrated with the inconsistency.
No, that's understandable.
And I just think, because the thing is, like, when I watched, I think, was it West Ham?
When he came off the bench?
Yeah, he came off the bench, and it was like we were attacking towards our goal, and we were like on the edge of the 6-yard box, and I'm just like thinking, you should have passed that.
Mm-hmm.
But he decided to like attempt on goal kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's his decision making in my eyes that lets him down, basically.
I agree.
So it's like, because in my head I'm thinking, well, when he passes, I think, you should have had a go on goal. And then when he has a go on goal, I think, well, you should have passed that. I just think sometimes I don't know if he overthinks it, and he dawdles on the ball a bit, and then his chance is gone to pass it, and then he ends up losing the ball, and then everyone's frustrated because Tyler Roberts has lost the ball again, and I do feel bad for him in that sense, but in the same way, I'm just thinking, well, just be more consistent.
I agree, but there's also first team players this season who aren't being consistent. They're okay anyway.
Yeah, but I'm quite happy to call them out.
Oh, of course, Jan, you have them.
Dallas.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? I'm happy to call them out on their faults.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been perfect. They haven't been like the way that they have been last season, put it that way.
No,
like, you'd see Dallas as Mr. Reliable, completely consistent. And if someone was to lose the ball, he's always there to pick it up and always there to, start another attack on goal. And it's just not working for him at the moment.
Yeah, he's having an off time in the team, but it'll come back.
Exactly.
He'll come back. But if you want to move on from Tyler Roberts, because we've spent a bit too much time talking about him, there is plenty of others to cover. Next, we want to look onto the defensive side and what players have been shining from the stats side. And there's something which has been put up: most tackles, Kalvin Phillips. Is anyone surprised by that?
No.
No. Who
Not
would be?
at all.
No, but second there, that's a bit of a surprise for me, is 𝘽𝙬𝙎𝙏 with 17 tackles.
Yeah, especially when I've seen in the Twitterverse that he hasn't been given the best sort of reception.
No, it's not. He has to have some
criticised a little bit in on social media, but the jury's still out with me. I think he'll come good. I mean, he did have COVID for 2 weeks, and you know, if Rodrigo got given the COVID pass, why can't he have the COVID pass? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's very true. He's coming into one of the hardest sides to adapt to in the world. We run more than anyone else. We sprint more than anyone else. We cover the most distance than any other team in the league. And 𝘬𝙧 has come from a pretty poorly run Barcelona. And he said that he saw more training videos and analysis of him in the first week at Leeds than he did in his whole 2 years at Barcelona. And that tells it all. He wasn't being looked after and helped to improve at Barcelona, which is a shame because I love Barcelona, at least I did. But they're a shell of what they used to be, and 𝘬𝙧 suffered because of that.
And I don't know if people forget, like out of sight, out of mind kind of perspective, but if you think about it, when we bought Rafinha didn't feature for like 3 months.
Yeah, he took him a while.
He didn't. Yeah, we didn't see him for a while, and so he was able to settle in properly and then come all gun blazing. And we were thinking, oh, we absolutely love him because he's settled straight in, keeping up the pace, being creative, doing what because we want. But 𝘬𝙧, he only got a pre-season.
Not very much.
He didn't exactly have much time to really settle in and to get Bielsa fit. So I think the criticism early on, like when he played against Everton at the first home game, I think was a bit undeserved. And so that's why I say the jury's still out. I mean, against Watford, I thought he did really well.
He did. He had a good game.
And I think only with time he'll get better.
Yeah, and so I just been popped up there, the dribble duel success. That's when someone tries to run past you with the ball. Our best performer in that is Liam Cooper, which I'm sure some people might be surprised by, but he's very good at stopping dribblers. He does let some get past him who have a bit too much pace for him, but he's still the best in our squad, and 𝘽𝙬𝙎𝙏 is second, and Kalvin is third. So that's another good stat to look at for our defenders. But we've had some other very, very good, outstanding performances so far from some of our players, but it's not really been helped to show with some of the performances further up the field because our defence gets so exposed when we lose the ball in hard areas to lose the ball. If we lose it in transition in midfield, then our defence has a lot of work, and it doesn't always let them show that. But there's another one here, Meslier. I'm sure we all agree he has been one of our other star performers so far.
100%.
Yeah.
Gosh, he's got us out of so much trouble.
Yes, he has.
So much trouble this start of this season. Jesus, what?
Yep.
Oh, some of the saves I've seen at Ellen Road. Oh, literally, you might as well sign him up straight up to the circus and be an acrobat because that's what he's like.
Exactly. He's been untouchable so far. Obviously he's still young, he's still learning, and he's as good as what he is. It's definitely a future France international there. He's blows me away with some of the things that he does on the pitch for how young he still is, and can't say better for the lad. He's best goalkeeper in the league for me.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think to Llorente?
Llorente is always been one of our best defenders, and he showed in the last game against Watford his quality. Not just a goal, is what he brings to the defence. He brings a measure of calm, and he assures other people around him. He makes other people perform better around him, and his passing, he's been perfect so far. But we haven't seen nothing with him being injured. Well, hopefully he can stay injury-free, and that's the biggest thing with him. Biggest thing.
It is, because I remember the start of last season, it was like it was made of glass, and we're thinking, is it? At one point, I remember it was like, do we have another Adam Forshaw on our hands? I was like, everyone's getting so nervous about it, and he came back, and then he just blew us all away, and we stopped conceding so many goals just solely because he was in defence, and he's. I know it's not an I know it's an object, but I compare him to almost like an anchor. Do you know what I mean? He just has that. He just keeps everyone on key. Like, it's just, I just think he is literally our best centre back, and we do miss him when he's out injured.
We definitely do.
I think also last season I was impressed with his is it decision making, I suppose, just his football brain, if that makes sense. So like,
I'm with you.
Like doing clever tackles in the penalty box where you knew that if someone else did it, we'd concede a penalty.
Yeah.
I think there was one time, was it against Teller from Southampton? And it flipped on its head because Teller went down like a sack of potatoes. And it was going to be a penalty to them.
I think I remember this one.
But then it was VAR, and you could see that Teller ran into Llorente's leg. Yeah. But Llorente tried to back out of it.
I remember, yeah.
It got turned on its head. And I just thought that was so clever. And I thought, we haven't had a player with that kind of smarts. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just hope that he stays fit for the rest of the season.
We can hope so. I've got some stats to show for all the defenders so far. So I'll pop these up now. So I haven't put Llorente in this because he's played so few games in comparison to other people. So his stats wouldn't show up well on this, which I didn't feel would be fair to him. Yeah. But if you look at this list, there's one name which should stand out there. Raphinha. What is he doing in the list for the best defenders? Oh. I mean, look at that. He's in the top 7 players for.
I mean, at least with Stuart Dallas, he's played at left back. He kind of get it.
Yeah, but Raphinha is completed 11 tackles, 7 interceptions, 89 pressures, and he's been phenomenal. It's not what you expect from a Brazilian flair player. You don't expect him to have this in his locker.
It brings up the question, doesn't it? Because he's on the right side along with Älin. It just says, well, what is Älin doing?
Well, I agree.
It questions his performance because, I mean, obviously, I know everyone's picked on his performance. He isn't the Älin that started well last season, but it puts it more into question because just thinking, well, what, like, how is it getting to a point where Raphinha is defending like that, for example? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If we put it into perspective, a lot of Raphinha's tackles are further up the pitch than what Ailin's would be.
Yeah.
He'll be doing his defending further up as part of our high press. But it's still either way. So no matter where he is defending, he is still doing that work, which is the perfect Bielsa attacker, which I'm sure Bielsa loves that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's what.
Well, that's it. I mean, to be fair, like, didn't say, for example, Bamford said that, didn't he? The first thing you learn is to as a striker under Bielsa is to defend.
Yeah.
Not to attack, to actually defend.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because of the way we play.
Yep. And he's been very impressed with that. So you've got to love how Raphinha helps not both in attack but also in defence. And there's also a couple of other things in here which are very good. Pascal Struijk, if you look at the interceptions, he's quite far away ahead per 90. He's got the most interceptions, but he's played a lot less time than a lot of these other players. He has 3.9 interceptions per 90, which is a lot of interceptions, and got the most on the team. I love that from him. I love Struijk. He's got a top future ahead of him.
Oh, I just love Bamford.
Yeah, who doesn't? That's another thing that was on there. His pressing has been great, even though he's been out. He's still up there with. He's got the same amount of pressures as Raphinha, as Bamford, and he's been out for a few games. And I think Raphinha has played nearly every game that we've had so far. He's been taken off the pitch sometimes because he's been on the verge of being injured, but not quite there. But still, it's been good from Bamford. And
yeah, I kind of feel. I probably feel that he's probably a bit frustrated.
Yeah.
Simply because he hasn't been getting the goals that he probably thinks he should be getting, especially compared to last season.
Yeah.
And how good of a season he had. And obviously, I don't know if there's a mental thing. The fact, I mean, it probably doesn't even cross his mind, but if you, I don't know if you saw it, but the typical tosh that comes out of TalkSport, etc., and they were always questioning, like, yeah, Bamford's done great, but can he replicate it next season?
Yeah,
so I don't know if that weighs on his mind, but at the moment he hasn't been getting the goals, unfortunately. But I hope that with Watford's win behind us, I'm hoping that gives the whole team a bit of a lift and gives them a bit of more fire in their belly, and gets them unified again. Because, like I say, at the moment, I'm just not seeing us work as a proper unit like we did last season. It's a bit frustrating to watch the fact that there were some times where you literally, like, they didn't even have to look up. They literally just had to pass a ball, and it was like they were telepathic. Like, they were just so in sync. And
definitely.
This season, we're just not seeing it. But I'm hoping that, we do come good soon, especially when we've got the dreaded month of December.
It's always a fun month, is December. We didn't do too badly last December, I don't think.
No, but we didn't. No, but our dreaded month was April.
Yeah, true. But
so we
did very well with that, though, didn't we?
Because the previous 3 seasons under Bielsa, we always started out strong, and then we always dipped a bit in December.
Yeah.
And then we came back strong again at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just hoping that the start, we come good now, build that momentum, do really well in December, have a bit of a dip in January, February, and come back strong in March, April.
I think that's quite doable. We'll start picking up points soon. I have faith that this team will do what needs to be done. I just love this squad so much, and some of them aren't going to be here for too many more seasons. So I think we just need to cherish them while we've got them. This squad got us promoted back to where we belong, and
100%.
We need to look after them, and because soon they'll be gone, and just living it on in our memory. I've got a few other stats just to show, just to close out this video. We're getting up to 45 minutes on now. I don't think there's too much more to say, but here's one particular spicy one. If you like a bit of nutmeg, Raphinha has done a dirty on his opponent 5 times, which has him 3rd in the entire league. Ruiner. We all love that side of Raphinha where he just
when he just retires players in a game.
Poor Gary Cahill from last year. He will never live that down.
Never ever.
Never.
I just love rewatching that clip.
Yeah, who doesn't? It's magic, totally magic. And he's been doing it again on international duty, hasn't he, for Brazil?
Oh yeah.
He absolutely ruined one of I think Colombia's defenders. It was fun to watch. And another one of Rafinha's stats so far is this one. He's carried the ball into the penalty area the most in our squad with 11 carries. This puts him 9th in the league, tied with Sadio Mane, which is another very impressive stat, which I've got to love Rafinha for. He runs for the ball a lot. That's always a good thing.
I know that. I mean, that's what kind of makes me worry, isn't it? I mean, I know, like, people put. I think I've noticed some fans put Phillips in the mix with him about potentially leaving next season.
Mm-hmm.
Phillips just erased that name from that, even putting it in the same sort of hat as Rafinha, because I just think because of what Leeds is, because he's Leeds born and bred, I think he'd give us a bit longer of a chance, if that makes sense. Like, he wouldn't be the first one to just off and go to City or somewhere. Like, if he believes in Bielsa's philosophy still, and feels that because of what Bielsa has done to help him get to where he was, to help him get to where he is now, especially being the most missed England player.
Yes. That's mad.
That's mad. I think there's a lot of loyalty there with Phillips, and I think he wouldn't just go next season. I think it'll take a lot, and I mean a lot, to turn his head.
I agree. He's Leeds through and through.
Exactly. But with Rafinha, I wouldn't. If the season didn't go as well as we all planned, and say, for example, we didn't finish in a position that he personally felt that we should have finished in, then potentially we might lose him. But
yeah,
Phillips, I don't think we're losing him at the end of the season.
No, I don't think so. He's going to be signing the new contract. Apparently, but before Christmas, he's going to be signing a new contract. Which
I saw that. He's supposed to be our highest earned player, isn't he? And rightly so. He deserves.
He definitely deserves it. He deserves parity with the other top paid players at the club, because he is every bit as vital to the way we perform as anyone else. And just like that stat there shows, he's the most pressures, fourth most pressures in the Premier League with 158 pressures, easily completes the most pressures in our squad, and that's even with him playing in defensive midfield. But he presses that high. He's just magic. Magic, you know.
Oh gosh, yeah. I just couldn't believe it. Like on Tuesday night, everyone was like slating Rice off, and then I think everyone was everyone was ripping into Gary Lineker because he was like saying, "Oh, this is the perfect three that I've been waiting to see," which was Rice, Foden, and Mount. Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
What did Foden? Well, obviously, I know I didn't really watch it. I did catch probably like 5-10 minutes snippets. But from what I gauged from Twitter was that they didn't really do much.
No, well, it's the first. I think it's the first Euros and World Cup qualifier that England have lost or drawn at home for 9 years. And I know, obviously, Kalvin wasn't in the squad for 9 years, but every time we've barely conceded of England when he's been playing, because of how much work he gets through. No one else on that squad puts in the amount of work that he does. And that work that he does lets the attacking players ahead of him do their job better, which is what people don't understand. We understand because we see Kalvin all the time.
Everyone was raving about his partnership with Rice during the Euros.
Yep.
Like, it worked so well.
It did.
But, yeah, it's just, I understand though, like, it was a bit defensive.
It is with Southgate.
Yeah, but that's Southgate all over.
With England, that works. It might not work with other teams, but that's the style that Southgate's got, and it works when he's got the players that he needs, which is he needs that midfield base of Rice and Phillips, not one or the other. And I'm a bit surprised that he didn't try out someone else in Phillips's role, Henderson or Bellingham, but I didn't watch it either way because Kalvin wasn't there. And
exactly, that's why I didn't have much interest. I was like, Phillips ain't playing, not bothered.
Exactly. I'm not sure if anyone's got any questions for us, or we could say anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to see us talk about. Anything at all?
Have it sneaky Q&A.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Those games are winnable.
100%.
Yeah, the Wolves is the only one which last season they did do us twice. Those were the most frustrating games of last season with Wolves.
You were telling me
1-0 both times. Both with crappy little deflected goals.
They were flukes.
Yeah, total flukes.
They were flukes. I could not believe it. The fact that it was. Forgotten his blooming name now.
It was 𝘎𝙗 𝙕, one of them where the shot cracked off the crossbar, hit Melia's back.
Yeah, that was at Ellen Road, wasn't it? That one was the one at Ellen Road, I think, where Traore hit the crossbar, and it bounced off Melia's back and went in. But it's the other one at Wolves.
It was Raul. It was Raul Jimenez. It was Jimenez.
His
shot
he ended
reflected off Kalvin, I think,
during that same match, didn't he? I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was against Arsenal. What am I on about? Ignore me. He fractured his skull against Arsenal. It was because he shot it, didn't it? And then Phillips went to defend it.
He tried to block it.
He headed it in.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but they didn't do much to deserve those wins. We deserve both of those. They just got massive help into luck. So I think this year the luck's going to go with us from those.
Nuno's at Tottenham, and I think that was mainly down to the manager. Like, I just think the manager does a lot for a team, and I don't. I think we stand a chance against them.
Yeah, I don't see as much from them, but
no,
it is the same manager who scuffed a win at Wolves last year, so we'll just have to see how that plays out. But yeah, the next 4 games, I could see us getting a few wins on the board. Norwich, I will be
definitely Norwich.
I will be very disappointed if we do not beat Norwich by a couple of goals at least. Southampton this weekend coming up. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I've put out a video about how to beat Southampton, which has got some things on there that you might want to look at about the weekend.
I think it's definitely winnable, don't get me wrong, but they do have some pretty decent players in their team.
They do.
Like
definitely. Yeah, I love Ward-Prowse. He's a good player.
I think I really rate him.
His free kicks are sublime, Beckham-esque.
Exactly.
Ian Hart-esque.
If we concede a set piece outside the area, I'd be bricking it.
Definitely, me too. But the good thing about that,
be on the end of it.
the good thing is that at least they have lost Ings though, and Ings is also a good player for them. And so,
where did he go? Did he go to Aston Villa?
To Villa, yeah.
Yeah,
he went to Villa. So
was that to replace Grealish?
No, I think they got
the exact same position, but
they got Emi Buendia from Norwich to replace Grealish. And also Leon Bailey from Bundesliga. Do you hear that? I'm hearing some static.
No, I don't hear that.
So where that's coming from?
But anyway, so I don't. Yeah, so I'm hoping that we definitely win some of those games coming up, and I hope And I hope we do well in the Carabao Cup. I know not everyone is a massive fan of cup runs, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it just...
I'd like one.
Because we're having a bit of an average start and there's not as much excitement going on, you know, like last season at this time. It would just be nice just to keep the cup run going.
Yeah, and it would be nice. It would be nice to batter Arsenal as well. I would enjoy that.
Oh yeah,
and hopefully we'll see a Kalvin and Ben White's reunion. That'd be nice. Hopefully Kalvin will come out better.
Ben White on the floor.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Tough love. It's not tough love. That's what all you get from Kalvin.
Yeah. Right, shall we leave it there then?
I think so. I think we're all good.
Yeah. Right, guys. So thanks for joining us tonight. And we will catch you later. Tomorrow we've got a few pre-match videos going out from Chris, and
I think Oscar's doing one as well.
Oh, Oscar, yeah.
He's got someone from the Southampton channel with him, I believe. So
and there's an opposition preview coming out shortly. And then on Friday we'll have our big pre-match live with a few of us on the panel, and then I'm not sure what's happening with the actual match day stuff, but I'm sure you'll see a match day vlog and loads of post-match reaction afterwards as well. So watch your space.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Enjoy the game, guys, and make sure to like and subscribe and share. All that good stuff.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.